2013 ended with quite a bang. I was descending a mountain pass in Colorado on a racing bicycle when I find myself literally flying through the air. I slid off the back of my bike and landed on a narrow wheel at over 50 miles an hour. The aluminum wheel shattered and sliced me into two, leaving my sphincters torn open, my intestine hanging out.
My anus took the brunt of the fall on my rear wheel that had collapsed at the time, and so I've pretty much torn my asshole in two.
Torn yourself a new asshole?
I have torn myself a new asshole too, yeah, absolutely, literally.
When they say time slows down during an accident, I would have to agree. Even though I was only flying through the air for maybe a second, my memory is of a long, deep thought about how horrible of an accident this was going to be, and how the only way I was going to survive the ordeal was with a positive attitude. But how to be positive when everything I'd worked for was about to be taken away? I'd been running my own film company for the previous 5 years, had no medical insurance, no savings, and was just surviving the first years of a new venture. The costs alone would mean I'd lose everything. There must be some lesson for me for any of this to make sense. 8 hours of surgery and now donning a colostomy bag, my arse was all sewn up, and I began to reflect on the why. I had the fortune of filming the Wounded Warrior Games for a number of years, and during my recovery I was able to draw strength from the men and women of the US Army and Marine Corps that I witnessed making a new life during their recoveries from far worse injuries than my own. Within 3 months I had managed to complete a 3-day, 100-mile mountain bike ride around the White Rim in Moab, Utah. That summer I filmed the 3.5-week, 5-country edition of the 2014 Tour de France. This wasn't the first accident I'd had on a bicycle. After career racing for over 30 years, I'd hit the tarmac and the dirt a few times. 2011 saw me starting my own film company after a horrific accident racing at the Encino Velodrome left me with a broken nose and broken wrist. For the first time in my life I couldn't ride my bike and found myself looking for new avenues to pursue. I had been filming myself and a few friends trying out the new sport of mountain unicycling on some of the most difficult trails along the Southern California coast. Trying to show my parents back in the UK, I'd begun filming using a small GoPro camera and loved editing the footage. After my accident in the winter of 2013, I jumped at all opportunities and took life on with new vigor and passion, happy to be free of my colostomy bag and desperate to recover financially. Unfortunately, it was not to be, and in the winter of 2016, I was bankrupt, and I sold the last of all my belongings, film equipment, my car, and I was no longer able to afford rent. I bought an inexpensive 1984 Toyota Dolphin RV, and I moved in with my old coonhound, the Lady Marmalade. Not sure where to go or what direction to take, the one item I had kept was a concert electric ukulele. I had bought it just a couple of years earlier and could play a few songs on it at this point. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something. Your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. Because believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path, and that will make all the difference. I only ever wanted to be good enough to play at a campfire, so I decided to play at an open mic in the fall of 2015 to improve my playing ability. Just over 1 year later, I packed everything up in Daphne, my Toyota Dolphin, and headed to Crested Butte, Colorado, which at the time had cool temperatures for my dog to be happy in the camper. By now I was almost out of money and not sure what I was going to do. I found myself playing at the open mic in Crested Butte, and shortly after was invited to play the following afternoon at a local cafeteria. At this stage I could play 3 songs, and that was about it. Ask me for a 4th and you'd get a repeat. However, by the end of that summer I was playing 3-hour shows on my own. Crested Butte is a small town and I had quickly been invited to bigger gigs. Since then I have existed just from playing music, travelling to keep in the best temperatures. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. You've got to find what you love, and that is as true for work as it is for your lovers. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking and don't settle. Have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become.